interesting. So we should be live now on Facebook and YouTube. Good morning if you're joining on Facebook and YouTube. And Instagram is just popping up, so we're live on Instagram. Morning if you are joining us on Instagram. Wednesday morning, a little bit more focus on the movement. My friend and colleague Larry Cammarata sent me a link this morning to an article in The Guardian. I think it was Sunday. Let me just have a quick double check on that. I think it was this Sunday, Sunday the 12th. Sunday the 12th of January. The squat secret, why this simple move is key to long-term and health and how to improve yours. So I thought what would be quite fun is just to play around with some basic squat movements. The thing to remember, like I say in every one of these sessions, it's about finding your edge, your comfortable place. Particularly with the squat, everybody's different. We have different leg lengths, different femur lengths, different hip mobility. So remember, with any exercise, it's not about pushing beyond what is challenging, but not straining. I don't want you to strain anything. And as I say at every session, you'll be sick of me saying this now, if you can breathe, then you are at the point where you are not overwhelming your musculoskeletal system or your nervous system. So keep breathing. No holding of the breath, no clenching, no tightening. So let's play around with that and do a few different types of squat positions. But as always, we will start off with just making that camera a little bit further away so you can see me. With mobilization. Spine, everything's connected through the spine. So let's work on energizing and mobilizing the spine. Let's take our feet hip width apart. Parallel if you can, but if you want to turn the feet out a little bit, that's absolutely fine. Have a sense of engagement in that lower body, in the feet connected to the ground, in the hips, the calves, but not over tightening. I don't want clenching, but have a sense of engagement and working with the lower body so you can free up the upper body. Want to be active. You want to feel the joints, the ankles, the knees, and the hips. You want to feel fluidity in those joints. You don't want to feel anywhere where they're sticky or jamming. But at the same time, you want to feel activity or tension. Now, tension often gets a bad press. Tension is bad. But we need tension, just the right amount of tension or engagement in the calves, in the thighs, in the hips and the glutes. It's the idea of the Qigong principle of strength and softness. Where can you soften? Where do we need to be strong? Strength and flexibility. Gentle breathing in and out through the nose. Don't have to think about how you're breathing. Knocking with the back of the hand on the lower back. I'm just going to whiz round so you can see the back of the hand, just knocking on the lower back. And the front of the hand, the front arm, just knocking on the belly, knocking on the door of life. Slowing down, and we're going into slow motion water waves. Again, just have an awareness of the engagement in the lower body, feet connected to the ground, the movement through the ankles, that rotation through the ankles, calf muscles, the knees, a little bit of softness in the knees so that we can get that movement through the knees as well. Feel the strength in the hips. Lift and lengthen the spine. Nice long spine, which means you can drop and relax the shoulders. Feel the movement in the back, the lower back, the sacrum. And then through the upper back and the shoulder blades, the neck. And take a rest. Bring the palms facing forwards. Someone has commented on Instagram and I'm too far away from the camera so I can't see it. I hope the sound is okay. Yes, thank you. Palms facing forwards. Let the breath settle. Breathe in. Breathe out. Slowly, slowly, slowly. I don't want you to feel that you're challenging the breath, but just see if you can just slow the breath a little bit more. Breath in, gentle breath in. Breath out. Palms facing forwards again. Making sure your feet are still hip width apart. We're just going to, oh, excuse me. Got a frog in my throat. We're just going to hinge the hips back a little bit. So it's like you're going to squat down, but you've gone into an eighth of a squat. Let me just have a quick sip of my tea. Don't know what I swallowed then. You're going to an eighth of a squat. So you would see me from the side. I'm just going, oh, I'm just about to sit down. And we're going to stay in that position with the lower body. And we're just going to tilt the pelvis. So I'm tucking the pelvis, tucking the tailbone underneath. If anything hurts, stop. And I'm spilling out the back of the pelvis. And then I'm tilting the pelvis forwards, spilling out the front of the pelvis. So we get that mobility through the pelvis. I'm not coming up and down. It's very tempting when we're doing this is to come up and go down and come up and go down. So we stay there, nice and strong through the legs, tilting the pelvis. Once we've got that movement going with the pelvis, we're going to breathe in, very light fists, open the chest. We're going to breathe out, round the back, tuck the pelvis underneath. Spinal cord breathing, open the throat, open the front of the body. Tuck the pelvis underneath. Keep in that eighth of a squat position as you're doing this movement, and we're breathing with the movement. So you're breathing in, and you're breathing out. And you're following your breath. You don't need to follow anyone else. And the breath is very light, soft, just naturally in and out through the nose. When you do your next in-breath, I would like you to rotate the upper body to one side. It brings the hips with it. Still do that tilt with the pelvis. This feels really nice, and on the hips here, I like this one, where you just have that little bit of rotation, but get the hips working. Just a few on one side, and then you can come back to the center when you're ready. Do a few down the center again, just to reset down the center. And then rotate and do a few on the other side. Keep low with the lower body. So we're just tilting that pelvis. Spinal cord breathing, connecting the sacrum and the cranium, moving through that whole chain. And then just finishing with a few back in the center. And take a rest. Have a little shake out, a little move around if you need to. And then we're going to come into a wider position with the feet and legs. We're going to go, say, a hip and a half, or a hip and a bit width apart. Whatever feels comfortable, but you're going wider than hip width. We're going to go into that little eighth of a squat again. Keeping that chest lifted so we're not bending over, and we're going to glide side to side. If you can see, if I've got that table behind me, that's quite a nice measure there, because I'm not going up and down over that table. You can see my pelvis is level, I think, with the table. So you want to keep that pelvis level as you glide side to side. And you want a width apart. I need to go a little bit wider there. You want a width apart where you can straighten that leg without locking it out. So I'm not locking the knee out or anything. I'm just straightening, so you get that nice feeling in the hips there. That femur bone in the hip is rotating inwards as you're just gliding side to side. And you might, if you want to, maybe you can go a little bit lower. Again, breathing easy, not forcing anything. If you can go a little bit lower. And now we're going to add, if you can stay like this if you want to. We're going to add almost like a figure of 8 with the pelvis. This is a really nice one for the hips. So as I'm moving to the right, this is my right, I'm bringing that right hip forwards, and then I'm bringing the left hip forward. So I'm doing a figure of 8 with the hips. I'm still keeping that upper body lifted. And then that should feel really nice. It's like wringing out your thigh muscles. Doesn't have to be a big movement. And as always, flow. Think of flowing. So if anything sticks, just take it easy. Just come up a little bit, or just glide side to side. Breathe with it. And then if you've got the figure of 8 going, we can add in that dog wags the tail, big movement. So you're looking at the opposite foot. So imagine you've got a tail attached to your tailbone. You're swishing that tailbone, and then you're looking the opposite foot. So we're getting that nice rotation as well through the spine. Breathing easy. Bring your arms with it if you want to. If you want to put some arm movement in, put some arm movement in. Or you can just rest your hands on your hips or on your thighs. Nice and strong through the legs. And slow it down, come up to standing, and then just walk your feet together. Have a little shake out. Let's do a bit of picking cherries, then we'll do a little squat sequence. So shoulder width apart, we're reaching up. Remember, think about lengthening here, taking the ribs away from the hip, and then stretching through here, not just hiking the shoulder up. The shoulder can come into play towards the end. So picking cherries. Watch on this one that you're not leaning back. So again, tall through the spine and reaching up. And this is, all of them are good for finding your edge, but I'm not straining to get that cherry. I'm reaching up and I'm just getting to the point where I can reach it comfortably, but I am challenging myself a little bit. My breath is steady. I was just saying to the Zoomers before we started the session, one of the things that I've added in now that I'm doing every day is hanging. And I'm lucky because there's a place where I can do that. And actually the difference, even just this movement feels from hanging just for a few moments every day, this just feels a lot easier as well. I can reach a little bit higher. So if you have that opportunity and it's safe to do so, just a little bit of hanging and then a little bit of single arm hanging. Single arm is really challenging, but if you've got somewhere where you can connect to the ground, you can hold yourself and then just let yourself drop a little bit, hold yourself and just let yourself drop a little bit. It feels amazing, and it really, just doing that something very small move, this very small thing every single day makes a big difference. Giving your arms and your hands, let's have a good shake actually, shaking out the body. Here we can do, without losing your glasses, we can do a bit of cleansing and clearing with the breath. So we can take a full breath in and let go. Good, shake out, tapping your heels into the ground if that's comfortable. And slowing it down, slowing it down, slowing it down, slowing it down. Open up the palms. Tingling sensations. Let the breath settle. So we'll just do play around with a few positions, squat positions. And remember, everybody's going to be different. And often what I find is if you think about squatting, you end up doing an exercise and it becomes like, well, I've got to do it like this. No, I've got to do it like this. This is what I like about the tiger with the qigong, because the tiger with the qigong, when you do that and you engage the fingers, tiger claws, the back engages, which is quite nice. The chest lifts. So get your feet about shoulder width apart, maybe a little bit wider, whatever feels comfortable. Maybe slight turn out on the feet. Tigers, nice and slow. Go to whatever depth you feel comfortable with. It's not about getting as low as possible. Key is keep that chest lifted. The key is whatever position you're in, you could look around, you could change direction, you could run over there, you could turn around and run over there. If I'm down here, I can't look around. So keep that chest lifted. So you're lowering, just think of lowering your center of gravity. And one of the easiest ways to intensify a movement is to slow it down, because then you've got the time under tension. So let's slow this down, slow motion squat. Keep breathing, so make sure you're breathing through the nose. How low can you go without hurting? And then this is the challenging bit even more. It's like, whoa, really feel, really use the legs. Squeeze the muscles, but not over squeezing. Squeeze the glutes, but not tensing, straining. Come up. Let's do one more slow. It's a lot more challenging, a lot more beneficial than just doing quick ones. Quick ones are great because it's a different type of movement. It's more ballistic, it's more power. But training the body to move slowly means that when you do move quickly, it knows what to do. Slow, come up really slow. Smooth and slow, squeeze, use the leg muscles. It's nice. Breathing in. Breathing out. Let's do staggered stance. So I'm just moving back so you can see a little bit better. So all I'm doing is I'm keeping the same sort of like distance, and I'm just taking a step forward. So my heel of that foot is most probably in line with the toe of that foot. So all I've done is taken one step forwards. I want to keep the squat down the center line. So you could go to the side, but I want to keep the squat or the movement down the center line. So you'll put more weight through that front leg, that back heel will just lift off the ground. And then slowly back up. And we'll stay on this side. You could alternate, but we're just going to stay on this side. Make sure the knees strong, the knees going over the toe. We're still engaged with that back leg, but the heel is just peeling off the ground. Let's do two really slow. Hip glides back, your hips gliding back there, chest is lifted. Can feel that, feels good. See if you can go low, keeping that chest lifted, not forcing anything. Don't want to have to throw yourself up now. Can you come up really slowly using this leg? Slow, 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 slow. I said two, didn't I? Was that just one? This is going to be challenging. Let's go really slow again. What you could have done is add a little rest in between, or you could have put your heel on the ground, which I didn't. So down. Again, I could go that way, I could go that way, I could look behind me, come back up. That's warm, good. Shake your leg out. Let's go on the other side. See which side is more challenging. So, feet shoulder width apart, slight turn out. All we're doing is taking one step forwards, which brings our center of gravity over that front leg. I'm not going in the direction of the front leg, that's not a problem, you can do that, but I'm keeping down the center line. Now my left side, which is my left side, is not as comfortable, is not as strong as my right side. So what you want to be careful of is that I'm not putting more weight back. I want to really work on that front leg. So you want to make sure that your back leg is just stabilizing. It's still connected, it's still engaged, but you're really working that front leg. You're keeping your center of gravity over that front leg. Coming up. Let's do, I think we did, let's do 2 more really slow. Take your time. If you need any adjustments, you can just adjust your position. That's a great thing again about a slow movement. Pushing the ground away as you come up. Again, you go to what is comfortable for you. It's not about forcing, it's not about straining. Come up and give your leg a shake out. Excellent. So there's just 2 nice movements which are very, very appropriate, very functional in their actions, because you sit down and you walk. So actually those 2 squat positions are really nice ones just to have a little practice with. We're going to do, how are we time wise? Let's just do our horse stance and then we'll finish off. So remember, with the horse stance, we're going to go really wide as you can comfortably. And again, this is one you've got to find for yourself. You've got to find the position that is right for you on this. You slide your hands down the thighs, and then we keep sliding down till we get to our forearms on the thighs. So this is your depth, and you keep your lower body at this depth, but then we hinge the hips. So this is where you're really squeezing all the muscles in your legs. You're hinging the hips. You're lifting that upper body, but you're not coming up from the ground. Opening the chest, connecting, dropping the shoulders nice and strong through the back. Really squeeze the muscles in the thighs, in the hips. Connect to the ground through the feet. You've got to be breathing. Make sure you are breathing. You will all come up at a different point. So don't feel you have to stay with me or I have to stay with you. Breathe, breathe, engage, engage, engage. The longer you do this, and again, if this is something you practice every day, it's something that you're suddenly going to go, oh, I can open up a little bit more. I can stay here a little bit longer. But be guided by the breath. I'm feeling very warm now. Coming up slowly. Walking the feet together. Pulling down the heavens. Interlocking, feet together, just a couple of moments. I know we're on 8:30, but just a few moments to let the body, we've done a lot of work today actually. It's letting that body recover, allowing it to gently rock, spiral. Bamboo in the wind. Taking a calm, full breath in through the nose. Opening your eyes, stepping out. Brilliant. Excellent. Well, I feel nice and warmed up now. It's time for a quick run and a coffee and do a bit of work. Hope you've enjoyed this session. We might play around with a few more squats as well next week. And if you get a chance to grab that article, it was in the Sunday, was it Sunday? Did they do a Guardian on the Sunday? Sunday the 12th. Yeah, and it's the secrets of the squat. have a read. And thanks, Larry, for sharing that with me and inspiring this morning's session. Have a great day, everyone. Thanks for joining, and I will see you next week on Monday, where we'll focus a little bit more on the breath. Take care. Bye.
Thank you.